The apartment was too small for everything we planned. 2 cups on the floor, a mattress against the wall, and a notebook with more ambition than pages. You wrote numbers beside ideas that had never earned a penny. Circled places we had never visited, left room beneath my name for titles I had not deserved yet. Back then, I thought you loved me for who I was. Years later, I understand. You were loving someone still under construction.
You believed in a man who did not exist yet.
You spoke to his courage while I answered with excuses. You recognized his hands before they had built anything. You called him by my name until I learned how to become him. I used to come home carrying another rejection, like proof that the world had measured me correctly. You never argued with the letter. You opened the notebook, moved 1 line forward and asked what came next. Called it stubbornness, it was faith without the language to defend itself. The years did what years often do. They changed our address, our patience, the way we heard the same sentence. One evening, we divided the apartment into yours and mine. You took the blue cup, I kept the notebook. Neither of us said that leaving could also be an act of love. You believed in a man who did not exist yet. Then life introduced me. The pieces of him, his discipline arrived after failure. His confidence came without witnesses. His name appeared on doors we once drew in the margins. You never met him, still he carries your handwriting now. There are rooms with enough space for every plan we made. People shake my hand and praise the work they asked. When I first knew I would make it, I never know how to answer. The truth begins in an old apartment where you counted coins without making me feel poor, where you listened to impossible ideas as though they were delayed facts, where one person saw a future and the other was too frightened to look directly at it. I found the notebook last winter. The cover had bent several pages. It come loose near the back under a list we never completed. You had written, when this becomes real, remember that it was real here first. I read it standing beside everything once could not afford. For a moment success felt less like winning and more like receiving something you had mailed from another lifetime. We did not become the ending we imagined. I cannot place you inside the life that came after us. But nothing I built stands completely outside your influence. Every finished room contains a trace of that unfinished one. Every brave decision owes something to the woman who practiced believing before I did.
She believed in a man who did not exist yet.
I became him after she was gone. That is the part no photograph can show. The person who helped create my future was never promised a place inside. Tape gone yellow, photographs bent, where fingers have returned to the same faces too many times. At the bottom, beneath a receipt from a place that no longer exists, the envelope waited, still sealed, still carrying the date I once believed would divide my life into before and after. I remembered writing it at the kitchen table, crossing out every sentence that sounded too proud, starting again whenever the truth became uncomfortable. By morning, there were 6 pages. No performance, no clever ending, only the parts of me I had spent years editing in conversation. I told you where I had failed you. I admitted which apologies came too late. I wrote about the afternoon I knew we were ending, and kept discussing dinner as though ordinary plans could hold a collapsing room together. The letter never asked you back. That is what surprised me when I read it again. It did not bargain, it did not blame, it did not make a courtroom out of memory. It simply said, I loved you badly in places where I meant to love you well. Outside, water struck the glass with the patience of someone waiting to be invited in. I held the pages near the flame of an old candle. For years I had imagined that moment differently. A clean ending, ash in a metal tray, your name disappearing one black edge at a time. But the first line stopped me. Not because it belonged to you, because I recognized the person who wrote it. He was frightened but honest, too late but honest. He had finally removed every excuse and left himself standing there without protection. I had forgotten he was capable of that. The photographs went back into the box, the receipt, the train ticket, the spare key that opens nothing now. Then the letter, carefully folded, not as evidence that we should have survived, not as a doorway I intended to reopen. I kept it because somewhere between those 6 pages I had told the truth without knowing whether anyone would forgive me. I did not save your memory, I saved my truth. The envelope no longer carries your future, it carries mine from the last night I was brave enough to write without hiding. Some things remain because we cannot let go. This was different. I let you go a long time ago. The letter stayed because the man who wrote it deserved not to disappear. The departures board kept changing cities. Ours never appeared. You were tying your hair again. You always did that when your hands needed something to do. I bought 2 bottles of water, you opened yours. Mine stayed sealed until the flight was already boarding. People around us were living their own endings. A little girl wouldn't let go of her grandfather's coat. A businessman kissed his son without taking the phone away from his ear. A couple argued over a passport. Life never pauses because one story is closing. You ask, do you think we could have met at a different time? I looked at the runway, aircraft kept leaving exactly on schedule. I think we did, I said. We became different people before we became the people each other needed. Neither of us searched for the perfect goodbye. Maybe that's why
I still remember it.
you stepped closer, rested your forehead against mine. The loudspeaker called your flight.
Nobody rushed us.
The world simply waited. I hope you find the peace you were still searching for when you were with me. I hope one morning you laughed without noticing you're healing. I hope someone learned your silences without asking you to translate them. And if life is kind enough, I hope you become everything we kept promising each other. During the years we were still trying to save us, we smiled, not because the pain was gone, because love had finally stopped asking us to stay. The embrace lasted only seconds, long enough to remember, short enough to survive. I watched you walk toward security. You never turned around, neither did I, not out of pride, out of respect. Some stories don't deserve one last attempt. They deserve to remain untouched after the final page. Months later, people asked whether I regretted letting you go. They expected a simple answer. I never found one, because losing someone and being grateful they existed can happen inside the same heartbeat. Love grows up the day stops measuring how long someone stayed and starts honoring how deeply they changed you. That afternoon, I didn't lose the woman I loved. I said goodbye to the only ending that allowed us both to become who we were always meant to be. The loudest street wasn't the one I was walking through. It was the one behind the restaurant, where laughter spilled outside every time the door opened. Someone celebrated a promotion, someone toasted to a new beginning. Someone called a taxi with one arm around an old friend. The night had enough joy to make my silence feel visible. I kept walking. There was a season when I believed kindness worked like a receipt. You gave enough, life gave it back. Then people arrived who borrowed trust the way others borrow umbrellas, only until the weather changed.
that later erased mine. I stayed when leaving would have been easier. I forgave before hearing an apology, not because I was stronger, because I couldn't imagine living any other way. One winter, a man I called brother introduced me as if we'd barely met. He smiled, I smiled too. The difference was his ended when the conversation did. Mine followed me all the way home. For a while, I mistook disappointment for failure. I thought being deceived meant I had lived the wrong way. Years passed, enough to notice something strange. The faces changed, the addresses changed, even the skyline learned new shapes. Yet every night, the only person waiting for me inside my own thoughts was me. That realization cost less than revenge and lasted longer. I stopped asking why loyalty wasn't returned. The better question became, would I still choose to be this person if nobody noticed? The answer arrived without making noise. Yes, because character isn't a trade, it isn't an investment expecting interest. It's the only home you carry everywhere. People can keep what they took, the time, the effort, the promises. None of those were ever the most valuable thing I own. What survived every betrayal was the simple privilege of closing my eyes without rehearsing excuses. My reward was never people, it was the quiet certainty that I never needed to become someone else, just because someone else did.
The room always looked larger after midnight. One lamp, a microphone, walls that had listened to more unfinished songs than complete ones. Some people would have called it empty. I called it the first place that ever sounded like my future. Nobody laughed when I started. They did something far more dangerous. They smiled politely, the kind of smile that quietly says, enjoy the phase, reality will arrive soon. Reality did arrive. And unpaid bills and jobs that borrow my time and long walks home, wondering whether belief alone could keep a dream alive more than once. I reached the door ready to quit every time something stopped me. Not motivation, not confidence, memory. I still remember the first afternoon I imagined this life. I was too young to know how impossible it sounded. I believed it completely. People often think dreams disappear because they are difficult. Mine almost disappeared because they became ordinary. Deadlines replaced wonder, numbers replaced songs, comparison replaced curiosity. One evening, I switched everything off, the computer, the speakers, the phone. I sat there in a room that suddenly remembered why it had been built. Not for success, for creation. That's when I understood. I had spent years trying to protect the dream without asking whether the dream still recognized me. I never chased applause, I chased the life I could already see. Every time I close my eyes, someone else will probably doubt me again. They're free to their opinion. There's never been a finish line. The only promise I still care about is the one I whispered to myself inside this room when nobody was listening. If this journey proves anything, I hope it isn't that they were wrong. I hope it proves that the quiet voice I almost abandoned was right. All alone. Sometimes I catch myself missing a life I never lived. Not because mine is broken, because imagination has terrible timing. It only visits after the choice has already been made. I still think about that phone call I almost answered, that city I almost moved to, the words I almost said. Funny thing is, every almost created another version of me. Sometimes I swear I can feel him, the man who took every chance I was afraid of. Maybe he sings the sold out rooms, maybe he owns the house I still dream about. Maybe she stayed. Ooh. Maybe his father is still alive. Maybe he's been looking for my life this whole time, because his, when nobody tells you, every decision is an adoption. You raise one future by abandoning another. A woman handed me a ticket with no number. She smiled like she'd seen me before. Take your time, she said, most people leave here differently. The first room held a single photograph, two silhouettes standing inches apart. No faces, no kiss, only the distance that survived them. A small plaque read some stories ended before they ever began. I stayed there longer than I expected, different colors. Every receiver still waiting for the voice that never arrived. I recognize one, not because it belongs to me, because regret always remembers the sound it almost made. The farther ahead, a train platform, suitcases, departure boards, a passport with no stamp. Somebody had packed an entire future, then unpacked it the same evening. In another room, unfinished songs floated softly through hidden speakers. You could hear the first verse, the beginning of a melody, a chorus that never found its words. It sounded strange, as if silence had learned to sing. There was a bicycle with clean tires, running shoes without dust, an eagle holding a blank canvas, a letter missing its final sentence. Every room whispered the same thing. History isn't only written by what we did, it's also shaped by everything we left standing at the edge of tomorrow. Oh, then I found the room I feared the most, the friendships, empty chairs around the table, board games waiting for players who stopped calling, birthday candles that never met their cake. I could almost hear laughter echoing from a version of life that never learned how to disappear. For a moment I wanted to stay there, to keep wondering, to keep asking, what if? Then I reached the final door. It opened without a sound, nothing.
No paintings, no objects, no memories.
Only sunlight falling across an empty floor. I looked around, confused. The woman from the entrance was standing there. This room hasn't been filled yet. I asked why. She answered, because those choices still belong to you. I turned back toward every gallery I had crossed for the first time. They didn't feel like punishments, they felt like teachers. You can miss a life that never happened, that's true, but don't spend the one you're living building another museum. Leave one room empty enough for courage to arrive before another almost. Almost. There was a wrench my father never replaced. The handle was worn smooth, its paint almost gone. He said if it still works, it still belongs here. Back then I thought he was talking about tools. Saturday mornings had their own language, a radio older than both of us, a garage that smelled of oil, dust, and cut wood. He never explained much. He'd hand me a boat, point at the workbench, not once. And somehow I always knew what he meant. When you're young, your father looks like the answer to every question. You don't notice the unpaid bills folded inside his jacket. You don't hear the sigh before he opens the front door. how often he stands still for a second before pretending everything is under control. Children inherit the finished version of their parents. The unfinished parts stay hidden for years. One afternoon I found an old notebook between grocery lists and measurements for a shelf he never built. There was a page covered in crossed out ideas, businesses, cities, dreams with question marks instead of plans. I looked at him, he looked away for the first time, then he smiled. I wasn't always sure what I was doing. It wasn't a confession, it was freedom. Until that moment, I thought courage meant never being afraid. He taught me something different. Courage is tightening one more bolt while your hands are still shaking. It's driving home without knowing how next month will work out. It's letting your children believe the roof is strong, even while you're learning how to hold it up. The man I admired most was still figuring life out while teaching me how to face mine. That never made him smaller, it made him impossible to replace. Years have passed, the garage is quieter now. The radio still catches the same old station. The wrench is hanging exactly where he left it. Sometimes I pick it up for no reason, not because I need the tool, because I need the reminder. The strongest people I've ever known weren't the ones who had every answer. They were the ones who kept showing up while searching for them. I didn't lose the hero I imagined. When I was a child, I found something far more valuable. A man who built a family at the same time he was still building himself. I spent years counting empty chairs. Funny how absence can become so loud that you stop hearing everyone still saying your name. I knew the exact day some people left. I could remember their last sentence, the last message, the last promise. Memory has a strange habit. It frames closed doors like they were the whole house. One morning I walked outside before the neighborhood had fully awakened. The garden needed attention. Some branches had grown wild, others were bending under their own weight. I reached for the watering can, then noticed something. The oldest flowers weren't the tallest ones. They were simply the ones that had survived every season. My mother never asked for grand speeches. She kept calling, sometimes only to ask if I had eaten. Back then it sounded ordinary. Now I know ordinary is one of the rarest gifts life ever gives. A friend still sends me songs without asking if I've heard them. My brother has a way of arriving before I learn how to ask for help. The woman beside me has watched versions of me I would've walked away from. She stayed long enough to meet the man. Those difficult years of trying to build, none of them asked to become heroes. They simply refused to disappear. I used to believe gratitude belonged at the end of the story. After the success, after the healing, after life finally made sense. But loyalty doesn't wait for perfect timing. It grows quietly, the way roots do, invisible, patient, holding everything together long before anyone notices the tree. Today, I stopped thinking about everyone who walked away. Not because they stopped mattering, because someone else deserved my attention first. The people who answered, who remained, who carried pieces of my life without ever keeping score. There should be more songs about those people, the ones who never needed a dramatic goodbye to prove their importance, the ones who made constancy look effortless. If my life ever blooms, it won't be because one extraordinary person appeared. It will be because many ordinary acts of love kept returning day after day, until they quietly became my home. The people who stayed deserve songs long before I learned how to write one. There was a stretch of highway I always chose at night, not because it was shorter, because there was nothing out there to interrupt an argument that had already lasted too many years. I knew every version of that conversation, the one where I answered faster, the one where I stayed, the one where I left sooner, the one where I finally found the perfect sentence. 3 years too late, it's remarkable how memory can become a courtroom. Every witness is imagined, every verdict has already been written. Yet somehow the trial keeps reopening. I spend entire nights trying to negotiate with moments that had forgotten my name. I blame myself with the confidence of someone who believed regret could rewrite history. It never did. It only became another passenger asking me to drive in circles. Just before dawn, I pulled over. No houses, no traffic, only the sound of the engine glove compartment, folded inside an old envelope, was a letter I had carried through 3 cars and 2 apartments. I never mailed it, I never threw it away. It had become the smallest prison I owned. I read it once, not to remember, to notice how much of it belonged to someone I no longer was. The horizon was beginning to change color slowly, without asking permission. I left the letter on the passenger seat, closed the door, started the engine. For the first time, I didn't feel like I was driving away from my past. I was simply stopping its invitation to ride beside me. People think peace arrives when you finally win the argument. Mine arrived when I realized the other side had already stopped speaking. Years ago, the past never lost the discussion. I just reached the quiet place where I no longer needed to keep answering. When I was younger, I confused love with movement. I believed that caring meant running after people, calling again, explaining again, waiting a little longer, giving one more chance to someone who had already chosen another direction. I thought that was loyalty. The sea taught me otherwise. There wasn't no lighthouse at the edge of the cliffs. It had watched more winters than anyone still living nearby. Storms arrived, storms disappeared. Ships came, ships vanished. The lighthouse never negotiated with the tide. It never begged the horizon to bring anyone back. Every evening, it simply lit the same lantern. The keeper once told me light is never needed to chase anyone. It only needs to remain visible. I carried those words home, though I didn't understand them yet. Years later, I remembered them while standing outside a hospital room. My mother had fallen asleep in a plastic chair, still wearing the same coat she had arrived in. She never asked whether I noticed how tired she was. She just stayed another winter. A friend drove 3 hours because he heard my voice wasn't right. We barely spoke, he made dinner, fixed the broken shelf I'd ignored for months, left before sunrise. No speech, no lesson, just presence. There are people who don't knock on your life to be applauded. They quietly become part of its foundation. For years, I searched for ships. I measured love by who returned, who answered, who chose me. Then I looked back and finally saw the lights that had never gone out. The ones I had mistaken for ordinary, the ones that never demanded to be noticed. The strongest love I have ever received didn't arrive running toward me. It was already there. Every time I found my way home, the sea still moves, people still leave, weather still changes. None of that asked permission. But somewhere beyond another difficult night, a light continues burning without asking who deserves it. Maybe growing older is learning to stop chasing every
people are convinced to stay. I hope it's a light steady enough that someone who has lost their way can see it and know they're not alone.
Someone asked if they could take that chair. We're running out of space. I almost said yes. Instead, I heard myself answer, leave it there. I couldn't explain why it wasn't reserved. No one had promised to arrive. Still moving it felt like changing something. I wasn't ready to rename. The table looked exactly the way it always had. Plates, glasses, bread growing colder, while conversations wandered from one subject to another. Every now and then someone's eyes drifted toward their place, only for a second, then back again. Life has a gentle way of learning to continue without asking whether you're ready. Seasons kept replacing each other. The paint near the window faded a little. The floor remembered the same footsteps, where sunlight rest. Every afternoon the chair never complained. It simply waited the way old houses wait, without expecting, without forgetting. People imagine that absence sounds like crying. It doesn't. Most days it sounds like setting one extra plate before realizing you don't need it. It sounds like hearing good news and instinctively turning towards someone who isn't sitting there. It sounds like laughing, then wondering who would have laughed the loudest. For years I believed that empty chair was holding everything I had lost. I understand something different now. What can I remember? Rooms cannot miss anyone but love. Love quietly borrows places. It settles inside ordinary things, until ordinary things become impossible to call ordinary. The chair was never waiting for someone to return. It was carrying every meal, every conversation, every silence, every ordinary afternoon that became precious only after time closed the door. People ask why I never move it. I always smile. Some questions don't need an explanation, only a place where memory can sit without anyone asking it to leave. There are silences that still know how to say your name, and sometimes they pull out a chair before anyone else even notices. The watchmaker looked over his glasses and turned the old clock between his hands. It can be fixed. He said it the way doctors say a patient still has time. I nodded, paid him for the inspection, picked it up exactly as it was. The crack across the glass had been there for almost a decade. Its hands had stopped at 6:17. For years I thought that was the saddest thing about it. It wasn't. The saddest thing was realizing I remembered the broken clock, but couldn't remember the last afternoon. I watched the sunset without checking what came next. I measured too much of my life in arrival times. 5 more minutes, another deadline, 1 more meeting. I'll call tomorrow, I'll rest next week. I'll visit when things calm down. They never did. The clock waited patiently on the same shelf, watching me run past my own life. One evening, the electricity went out. No television, no internet, no glowing screens asking for attention. The house became quiet enough to hear rain finding its way across the roof. I wound the old clock out of habit, nothing happened still. I left my hand resting on it a little longer. For the first time in years, there was nowhere I needed to be. No race to win, no hour to catch. Only breathing, only listening, only existing without turning the moment into a schedule. That's when I understood the clock hadn't failed me. It had retired long before I learned how exhausted I was becoming. People think time disappears. I don't believe that anymore. Time waits. It waits inside conversations we rush through, inside meals eaten standing up, inside children asking us to watch one more time, inside parents telling the same story they've told before, inside ordinary evenings we promise ourselves we'll appreciate later. The clock still doesn't move, I don't want it to. Every morning reminds me that a life can remain perfectly measured and still go completely unnoticed. The happiest days I have ever lived shared one quiet secret. I cannot tell you what time they happened. The clock never ran out of time. I did, because I kept looking ahead instead of looking around. The watchmaker was right, it could have been repaired. The one who truly needed fixing was never the clock. It was the man who finally learned that life isn't asking us to count the hours. It's asking us to be present while they pass. When the rain arrived, our street became an ocean. Not a big one, just wide enough for 2 paper boats and 2 boys who believed distance could be folded. We gave every boat a destination: Tokyo, Rio, Iceland, places we couldn't pronounce without laughing first. The gutters became rivers, every corner was another continent. We never argued about whether they would make it. At that age, belief didn't need evidence. Years have a quiet way of changing the games without asking permission.
afternoon. I walked through the old neighborhood. The pavement had been replaced, the houses painted different colors, even the trees looked older. Only the rain remembered us, water still gathered in the same places. Almost by instinct, I stopped beside the deepest puddle. A small paper boat floated slowly toward the drain. Someone had made it that morning. The folds, I knew those folds. There were things your hands remember long after your mind forgets. I looked up across the street, a familiar smile, old eyes, gray beginning to visit his head. He lifted another sheet from his pocket, folded it without hurry, placed it on the water. Neither of us said anything. We didn't need to explain where the years had gone. Watching that tiny boat drift, I finally understood what I had mistaken for success. I thought growing older meant replacing wonder with certainty. He had chosen something else. He had learned how to carry both. That little boat never reached the sea. It disappeared beneath the grate 20 meters later, exactly like ours used to do. And somehow that wasn't failure. Its journey had never been about crossing oceans. It was about refusing to let imagination become another childhood address. Dreams don't grow old, people do. The moment they decide, they become too important to keep building that. Before I left, he handed me one blank sheet. No speech, no advice, just paper. For the first time in years, I didn't see an ordinary page. I saw a coastline still waiting for someone willing enough to fold the first boat. The first boat.
No map, no librarian, just shelves that disappeared into a ceiling. Too high to belong to any building. The silence there didn't feel empty. It felt careful, as though every sentence had learned how fragile a human voice can be. I walked for what felt like hours. Titles weren't names, they were moments. The day pride stayed quiet. The goodbye that pretended to be tomorrow. The hug that became a handshake. I reached for one. The pages weren't written in ink, they sounded like memories I thought you already knew. I'll tell you when the time is right. I don't wanna make this awkward. Every excuse looks smaller once it was printed. Further in, I found a narrow aisle. Only one book rested there, no title, only my handwriting across the cover. It opened itself. The first page held the words I never told my grandfather before his chair became part of the furniture. The next, a friend I slowly lost, because I believe real friendships could survive without being watered. Then came the pages I couldn't finish reading. found a way to shape my life. Silence has an alphabet of its own. It builds distance, one unsaid word at a time. I closed the book, my hands felt heavier, not from guilt, from possibility. Near the end, the pages changed, blank, 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 one after another, wide enough to reflect my own face. No instructions, no warning, only space. That's when I understood what this place had been trying to tell me. The most dangerous words are not the ones we speak badly. They're the ones we keep waiting for the perfect moment to release. Outside, the morning was already beginning. People hurried past, holding coffee, phones, plans, never imagining they were carrying entire chapters inside their chest. I touched the empty pages one last time, folded the book shut, walked toward the door. Some stories are written with courage, others with hesitation. Both leave marks, but the day before another page learns my silence. Someone will hear what should have been said, while there was still time to answer. The words we leave unspoken still write our story. The ones we choose to speak today can change how it ends. People said there was a workshop hidden between an old bakery and a watch repair shop. No sign above the door, only a brass bell that sounded smaller than it looked inside. Nothing was displayed for sale. Shelves carried glass hearts, some clear, some cloudy, some stitched together with threads that caught the light like tiny rivers. The tailor never asked what happened, he asked, what have you been carrying that no longer belongs to you? I didn't answer, I placed my heart on the wooden table. At least that's how it felt. He turned it slowly in his hands, not judging, just listening. It's heavier than it needs to be. That sentence found me before I understood it. Around the room, other people waited. A woman holding a wedding ring she couldn't throw away. A teenager reading the same apology for the 100th time. An old man touching a photograph whose edges had forgotten they were once sharp. Different stories, the same hope, the same hope. Everyone wanted their heart back exactly as it had been. The tailor smiled. If I could do that, he said, I'd have to erase everything that taught it how to love differently. He threaded a golden strand through the crack, not to hide it, to strengthen what had already survived. The room stayed quiet, needles moved gently, rain tapped against the windows like it understood this work couldn't be hurried. When he finished, I searched for the damage. The line was still there, bright, impossible to ignore. You missed a piece. He shook his head. No, you'll stop trying to hide it one day. I walked home touching that invisible scene. For weeks I believed
nothing had changed until I laughed without feeling guilty, until I trusted without asking for guarantees, until music stopped reminding me only of loss. One afternoon I caught my reflection in a shop window. The scar wasn't gone, neither was the person who had survived it. Then I understood what the tailor had known from the beginning. He never repaired my heart, it had been beating the whole time. He simply removed the lie that said it had saved love. Since then, when I meet someone trying to hide their own scars, I never tell them they'll disappear. I tell them what the tailor once told me: the strongest hearts aren't the ones that were never broken. They're the ones that stopped apologizing for the places where the light now enters.
People knew him as the man who never missed an evening sky. He was always a little early, backpack over one shoulder, an old camera with worn leather straps, no expensive lenses, no perfect locations, just enough height to watch daylight change its mind. Tourists often asked, what's so special about this sunset? He would smile, come back tomorrow. It won't happen the same way twice. They thought he was talking about the clouds. He wasn't back home. His walls were covered with photographs, orange horizons, purple coastlines, a sea learning how to become night. Visitors admired the colors, nobody noticed the dates written quietly on the back. March 12th, the day he buried his father. August 4th, the afternoon his daughter left for university. November 27th, the evening he signed the divorce papers. June 3, the phone call that changed everything. Every photograph held a goodbye. Not because he planned it, because life had a strange habit of ending chapters. While the sky was still beautiful for years, he believed he was preserving the light. Then one evening, a little boy stood beside him. Why do you always take the picture right before the sun disappears? He looked through the viewfinder, lowered the camera, and realized he had never asked himself that question. The answer arrived slowly, like dusk always does. I think he said, I'm trying to remember the endings of never asked the sky to stop being beautiful. The boy nodded as though that made perfect sense. Children often understand what adults need decades to discover years later. Someone opened the old backpack, hundreds of photographs, thousands of sunsets. They thought they were looking at landscapes. They weren't, they were looking at every farewell he had survived without allowing bitterness to become the final color. He never collected sunsets, he collected proof that every ending had left enough light to find the next morning. That's when I finally understood why some people never look away
When the day begins to disappear, because once you've lived enough, you stop fearing the horizon. You begin thanking it for reminding you that even goodbye knows how to paint. Knows how to paint.
The lobby was spireless, no voices, no footsteps, just a brass bell resting on the counter, as if someone had stepped away only a minute ago. A small sign read, "Welcome back." Strange, I had never been there before. An old man stood behind reception. He didn't ask for my passport, he already knew my name. Without a word, he placed a heavy key on the desk. The tag read, "On the way there." Every door was slightly open from one room. I heard the scratching of a fountain pen inside. A novel waited with the last chapter still unwritten. Across the hall, a grand piano held a melody that stopped mid-sentence. Further down, a suitcase covered in travel stickers sat beside a space helmet collecting dust. No people, only futures paused exactly where someone had walked away. I reached my own door, it opened before I touched the handle. Inside, everything looked familiar. A notebook filled with ideas that had never become mornings. Lyrics written in different handwriting. Mine. A microphone, its cable carefully wrapped, as though someone expected to use it later that evening. On the wall, a calendar, every page still waiting to be turned. Nothing inside that room felt abandoned, it felt patient. The old man appeared in the doorway. "You've kept this place exactly the same?" He smiled. "No, we did." I frowned. "We?" He looked around the room. "The dreams, they refused to leave." I laughed, thinking it was a joke. He didn't. "You believe people abandon dreams? It's usually the other way around. They stop visiting." Silence filled the room, not uncomfortable, the kind that only arrives when something true finally reaches you. I picked up the notebook. The first page was dated years ago. The last page, blank, waiting, not accusing, waiting. For the first time in a long while, the future didn't feel like somewhere far away. It felt like a room I already knew how to enter. As I reached for the door, the old man called after me. "If you leave again," I stopped. "Don't worry. We never rent your room to anyone else." Walking back through the hallway, I noticed something I had missed before. Every key was polished, every bed was made, every window was open to fresh air. Hope had been maintaining the whole hotel, not because it expected everyone to return, because it believed someone eventually would. Dreams never learned how to forget us. Sometimes they simply wait with the light on until we become brave enough to come back. Ooh. I became the person people call before bad news had finished happening. Need a ride? Call me. Can't sleep? Call me. Everything's falling apart. I'll be there somewhere along the way, helping stop being something I did. It became the only way I knew how to deserve a place in other people's lives. I carried umbrellas the way some people carry their names, without thinking, without counting. When storms arrived, I stepped closer, made room, pulled everyone in. Children, friends, the woman I love, even strangers who looked like they had forgotten what kindness felt like. I never noticed how naturally I kept moving to the edge, making sure everyone else fit beneath the fabric. One winter evening, the rain lasted longer than usual. People hurried home, street lights blurred into gold. Water gathered inside the seams of my jacket. A little girl walked past, holding her father's hand. She looked at me for a second, then asked him, "Why doesn't that man have a coat?" I almost laughed, I was wearing one. It was just too soaked to look like protection anymore. That's when I looked up, not at the clouds in my own hands. They were trembling, not from cold, from carrying too many seasons that were never mine to survive. The hardest truth didn't arrive like thunder, it arrived like exhaustion. Quiet, patient, impossible to argue with love. Should never ask you to disappear so everyone else can remain visible. That night I bought another umbrella. Nothing special, plain black, the kind nobody notices. The next morning I opened it before someone else needed it. For the first time I understood that protecting myself wasn't abandoning the people I loved. It was making sure I could still walk beside them. When the next storm came, I used to believe the rain had always come from the sky. I was wrong, the heaviest storms were the ones I created by believing every cloud belonged on my shoulders. I still help, I always will. But now, when someone steps beneath my umbrella, there's enough room for both of us, because the hands that hold shelter deserve to stay warm too. The stage was already set, rows of empty seats, a cello resting like it had been listening long before anyone arrived. Someone had polished every instrument, placed every chair, opened every score. Only one thing was missing: the conductor. I waited, everyone else did the same. A violinist adjusted the strings, a drummer kept tapping the edge of his knee, a trumpet player stared into the wings, expecting footsteps.
Nothing.
Minutes passed and someone,
Almost by accident,
played a single note. Another answer. A piano joined carefully, as though asking permission. Not because it was perfect, because silence had already waited long enough. That's how life began without
asking me.
I kept looking for someone who knew what all this meant. Teachers, books, soul to faces, people who sounded certain. Every time I thought I found the answer, I discovered another person quietly inventing their way forward. The father who admitted he was learning while raising his children, the doctor who still paused before difficult news, the artist who filled arenas yet doubted the next song, the old woman feeding birds every morning without pretending to understand why some winters hurt more than others. Confidence wears many costumes. Sometimes it's only courage, walking slowly. The music grew, not cleaner, not louder, just more honest or wrong. No, made someone smile. A missed entrance gave another melody room to breathe. The rhythm changed because life changed. Nobody stopped, nobody apologized for being human. I spent years thinking there had to be a hidden room where someone held the blueprint for all of this. There wasn't, only people listening carefully enough to avoid drowning out the person beside them. That was the closest thing to wisdom I ever found. Then my eyes returned to the empty podium. It had been empty from the beginning. Oh, not abandoned, but necessary. The music had never depended on one pair of hands. It depended on strangers choosing again and again to leave enough space for another instrument to exist. I thought someone else was conducting my life. Then one quiet evening, between every mistake I couldn't erase and every blessing I never planned, I finally heard my own part. Not louder, not better, not better, simply mine. And for the first time, I stopped chasing a perfect performance. I started listening for harmony, because maybe that's all any of us has ever been trying to make. Every evening, the station inhaled at amidst my horror. The departure board never hurried. The fluorescent lights buzzed softly. A newspaper rolled across the platform until it settled against an empty bench. People in that neighborhood used to joke about the last train. It always waits. Exactly 1 minute, not 2, not 30 seconds. 1 minute, nobody complained. Nobody questioned it anymore. One winter, I finally asked the conductor. He smiled without looking away from the tracks. I've seen a son arrive in time to hear his father's last joke. I've watched a woman step through those doors with flowers she almost never delivered. I've watched brothers shake hands again before pride changed its mind. He adjusted his cap. You'll be surprised what can fit inside 60 seconds. After that, I couldn't stop watching people. A chef still wearing his apron, a nurse holding one shoe in her hand, a teenager reading the same message over and over before deciding to get on. Every face looked like it was carrying something invisible, not luggage, a choice. For years I believed my life would begin when I felt ready, ready to leave, ready to forgive, ready to create, ready to realize. safest excuse I ever owned. Then came the night I arrived late, not by much, the platform was still warm. The doors were already closed, the red light slipped away into the distance. I stood there, breathing hard, waiting for anger to arrive. Instead, another thought sat beside me. The train hadn't betrayed me, it had waited for years. Every time I postponed the conversation, every time I chose certainty over possibility, every time I watched my own future leave the station because fear looked more responsible than hope. The schedule had been generous, I hadn't. The next morning I returned, not because another train would erase the one I'd missed, because life has a strange kindness. It rarely repeats the same moment, but it keeps inventing new platforms for people finally willing to move. Some departures never announced, they're the last. Neither do the opportunities that quietly change us now. When the doors open, I don't wait for perfect certainty. I step forward, not because I'm fearless, because I've learned the longest journey isn't crossing a country, it's crossing the small distance between I'll do it someday and today. The first thing people noticed wasn't the painting, it was the silence. Visitors walked into the gallery, speaking softly, then stopped. Nobody knew exactly when. A little boy let go of his mother's hand. An old woman removed her glasses without realizing they were already clean. Someone smiled, someone cried, no one agreed on what they were seeing. Years earlier, the painter had locked his studio door. Doctors used careful words, friends used hopeful ones, newspapers used dramatic ones. He stopped listening after the sentence, "You may never see color the same way again." For months, the canvases remained untouched, not because he had lost his talent, because he believed his talent had depended on something outside himself. One morning without a plan, he dipped the brush in the paint. He couldn't tell you whether it was blue or red or gold, so he stopped asking instead. He remembered how grief felt when it entered a room, how relief changed the weight of someone's shoulders, how hope always arrived a little quieter than fear that became his palette. His brush no longer searched for shades, it searched for truth. People stood in front of his work longer than they intended. One man called his daughter after 12 years without speaking. A violinist went home and finished the song she had abandoned the winter her father died. A stranger left flowers outside an apartment where no one had lived for months.
None of them could explain what the paintings had shown them, because they hadn't seen colors, they had seen themselves. A journalist finally asked, "What changed your style?" He laughed, "I stopped painting what eyes could recognize. I started painting what hearts already knew." That answer never made the front page. The paintings did. They traveled farther than he ever had. Not because they were beautiful, because they gave people permission to feel without needing the right words. Looking back, he realized the diagnosis had taken away something useful, but it had also removed a habit. The habit of believing beauty lived only inside color. The day the colors grew quiet, something else finally found its voice. And perhaps that had been inside him all along.
A delivery driver looked at me like I'd taken the wrong turn. There isn't anything down that street. I almost believed him. Then I saw an old bicycle leaning against a stone wall. No chain, no lock, as if nobody there had ever learned to be afraid. The air felt different, not quieter, lighter. A cafe owner was telling the same story for the third time. Everyone already knew how it ended. Everyone laughed exactly where they had laughed the week before. An old man paused halfway through a game of chess, because a child wanted to ask him why nights never walk straight. He answered like he had the whole afternoon. Nobody checked the watch, nobody apologized for staying longer. A woman closed a book just to hear another person finish their sentence. Music escaped through an open window, not loud enough to interrupt, just enough to remind the street that silence also has company. Time never hurried. We did. Morning never asked us to run. The sky never demanded another meeting. Maybe life has been waiting in the same place, hoping we would finally slow down long enough to notice it was waving. I kept walking. Flowers grew through tiny cracks between old stones. Nobody seems surprised around here. Even the pavement had learned that beauty doesn't mind taking longer. Father let his daughter tie his shoelaces badly twice. He thanked her like she'd repair the whole world. Someone left fresh bread outside their neighbor's door. No note, no signature, kindness didn't need to be photographed. The strange part wasn't the street, the strange part was realizing I had crossed it hundreds of times. Always late, always somewhere else. Always convincing myself that peace was another destination. Maybe places don't disappear, maybe attention does. Maybe wonder never leaves us. We simply stop introducing ourselves to it. Time never hurt. We did. The seasons kept blooming without checking the hour. Love kept waiting at familiar doors. Friendships never became smaller, only shorter, because we arrived already thinking about leaving. Maybe life has been standing on that same corner patiently while we hurried past, believing we were chasing time. When I turned around,
The street looked ordinary again.
traffic,
Noise, people.
walking fast. Someone asked, did you find what you were looking for? I smiled, I didn't find a hidden street. I found the speed that had been hiding it. And ever since I haven't been trying to slow life down. I've been trying to stop running past it. Past it. Have you ever carried something for so long that your hand forgot it could open? Mine learned the shape of an old suitcase. The leather had split along one corner. The wheels argued with every sidewalk. People assumed it held close. Sometimes I let them believe it. Explaining invisible way takes longer than most conversations survive inside that case. I stored versions of myself, the son who wished he'd answer differently, the friend who replayed one goodbye until it sounded like a punishment, the man who believed one mistake deserved a lifetime lease. Nothing in there ever grew lighter. Only older I became skilled at carrying it. That was the problem when pain becomes familiar. It starts introducing itself as identity. One autumn evening, a child ran past me at a train station. He bumped the suitcase, it tipped over. The lock sprang open, I froze, certain that everything I'd hidden was about to spill across the floor. Passengers kept walking, nobody stopped, nobody stared. A woman stepped around it without changing her pace. The little boy picked it up, placed it back beside me and said, it's empty. I almost corrected him instead. I looked inside, fabric, dust, silence, nothing else, my knees forgot how to hold me. I sat there surrounded by strangers while a lifetime quietly changed shape. The betrayal hadn't lived inside that case. The guilt had neither had fear. I had carried memories so tightly they learned to imitate weight. Forgiveness didn't arrive like a miracle. It arrived like unclenching a fist I hadn't noticed were still closed. The road home felt unfamiliar, not because the distance had changed, because every step belonged only to the present. The Sometimes I see it before leaving for work. It reminds me of something I hope I never forget. Some burdens aren't heavy because of what they contain. They're heavy because we convince ourselves they were always ours to carry. People whispered about a bridge that never appeared on any map. Some swore they had crossed it, most laughed. It's just another story to make broken people feel better. Still, every morning someone could be seen standing beside the river, waiting, watching the fog as if it owed them an answer. I became one of those people, not because I believed the legend, because I had run out of places to hide from myself. They said the bridge couldn't be built with stone. It only appeared when two hearts stopped asking who had suffered more. I thought I understood, so I rehearsed 1,000 speeches. The perfect apology, the perfect explanation, the perfect ending to a conversation that had been living inside my head for years. Every sunrise, the river remained empty, the mist kept its secret. And one old fisherman walked past me. He didn't stop, he only said, "Truth weighs less than pride." I almost answered. Instead, I let the sentence follow me home. Days later, I returned, this time without speeches, without arguments, without trying to prove who was right. The only words I carried were, "I'm sorry." Not because everything had been my fault, because pain had become more important than winning. The fog began to move slowly, stone by stone. An old bridge rose from the water as though it had been there all along, waiting for someone to stop measuring love with a ruler. I stepped forward, each footstep felt lighter than the one before. Halfway across, I lifted my eyes, I expected the face I had imagined for so many years. Instead, someone else was waiting. He looked familiar. Same tired eyes, same silence, same scar. I had spent years blaming on everyone else. He smiled first, not proudly, relieved. It was me, the version I abandoned. The day I decided that guilt was easier than forgiveness. I thought I had crossed a bridge to find another person. The river had always been inside me. Some distances aren't measured in miles, they're measured in the weight of words we refused to place between us. When I reached the other side, the bridge began to disappear. Not because its work was finished, because it had never belonged to the river. It belonged to the moment I finally lowered the only thing too heavy to carry across my pride. And in that silence, for the first time in years, I wasn't walking away from my past. I was finally walking with it.